Hey everyone, I'm Wa.
And I'm Chris, and welcome to Docu Sweeties.
We're two longtime friends to discuss the riveting and sometimes trashy world of reality TV and docuseries.
Yes, but through our own lens, honey, which is a little peppery, a little spicy, definitely very bitter. Ugh, acidic sometimes. But at the end of the day, hopefully mildly sweet. Hello.
Hi. So today we're talking about Harry and Meghan. This is episode 6, you guys. Love is winning currently, and we have made it to the end of this family saga. And I can honestly say that these last two episodes, 5 and 6, and 5 is already up, so go check it out. Are like really what spoke to me as a American. So we start off where we left off. It is March 2020. It is the beginning of the global pandemic. People are in a panic. They don't know what to do. The borders are about to close. So then we have another black bar vertical shot of Harry and the family on a plane. So they've chartered a plane and it's their freedom flight. They're leaving from Canada and they're going to an undisclosed location in Los Angeles, as Harry would say, because somebody has reached out to them and said, "Hey, I hear you guys are going through a thing. Do you need help?" And that person was Tyler Perry.
Yeah, I mean, this is this is how Megan says it went down. She says that during the wedding, that Tyler had reached out to her, had written her a note, basically being like, "God bless,"
Hey
and
sis, we see you.
yeah, great job. She never talked to really him, but in the middle of this moment where now they have exited, as we've talked about in at the end of episode 5, and they are now in Canada, and the family has taken away their security, and they are feeling exposed because people know what they are, and the Canadian Prime Minister is about to close the border. So all of that has happened, and Tyler calls her, and he's like, "Hey, what's up?" And she says that she just breaks down. She's
Yeah.
just like, I just fucking lost it, on the phone with a stranger. I don't know what it was. I was able to say all my fears, and he validated the fears because he had seen what happened to Diana and what can happen when the family does not care what happens to you, which feels like what has happened to Harry and Meghan, because Harry's dad was just like, you don't need security. You're not my son. I don't care. And they're rich. They could definitely afford it.
Yeah. And so he says, "Don't worry about it. Just come and stay at my place." And she's like, "Okay, we can just stay there for a little bit until." And he's like, "No, no, no. Don't worry. I have so many places. And so you'll stay at that one. Don't worry. Nobody knows where it is. It's fine. There's other celebrities in the neighborhood. Just go there, live your life, shelter there." So they get on a plane and they go to Tyler Perry's house. And Tyler's like, "Listen, I don't give a shit about the royals. Okay. I don't care about any of that. But I care about Meghan. She's part of our culture and she's our ambassador and we are bringing her home." So they pack up 16 suitcases, and I mean 13 suitcases, and all I can think of is like only 13, but that's a lot. That's a lot. So they pack up 13 suitcases and they go to his home, and he says that his home had like big round beds and stripper poles, and I was
Oh,
like,
mm-mm. He said it would if it did. No, it didn't.
"Oh."
Oh, you missed that one. Hi, I love you so much. Yeah, no. No. He said that what had happened was Tyler had FaceTime him from the house, I hope this is okay. And Harry had seen a big, gorgeous, um, fountain and was like, yeah, it's fine. And then Tyler was like, well, what if it had circular beds and stripper poles? And Harry would have I still would have been great. That's what the joke was. I love you so much. That's definitely not what Tyler's
Well, anyways,
beautiful
that's
Malibu Canyon house, which is, in the hills of Malibu, just surrounded by rich people. Go on.
yeah, that's what I wanted it to have, Chris. Okay. So please stop ruining my fantasy and judging me for it. And also, your strong defense of what a rich person in the Montecito Hills would have in their home is really interesting. Just like a strong defense.
I said Malibu. They don't live in. They listen. I'm gonna tell you right now, honey. As a rich person, that right
Listen,
now they're in Malibu and they will live in Montecito later. Later.
okay. Well, listen, Montecito, Malibu. Okay. Anyways, so 6 weeks, for 6 peaceful weeks, nobody knew where they were. And then they threw parties, like little bitty parties, and with for the baby, and they had a good time. They walked outside and they walked their dog. Could you imagine just 6 blissful weeks? And then somehow somebody got word of where they were. And then the helicopters started to swarm. Tyler had to build fences. And I was like, why did you have to build the fence? Why didn't they plant more trees? And, the tabloids wanted more, of what was happening in her life. And it's just like, Girl, helicopters, drones. The people would cut the chain link fence to try to get to see them. And I'm
Yeah, the
like,
drones are horrible. Like, how invasive can you be to like just like have a weird robot fly by your window trying to look inside? It's very Terminator.
yeah, it's terrible. It's absolutely terrible.
Just so you know, if you're on Patreon right now, you just saw Wah in the middle of the day, honey, just like in the middle of the day, just like take a big swig of Chardonnay from a very full glass. Okay, so honey, let her live her life,
This
honey.
is full?
That's a good pour. That's the normal pour of a glass. Okay.
Mhm.
It wasn't what I guess she's like, that's not what I started, babe. So that's what Wah said in her mind, and I can see it. So basically, yeah. So they get to his house, and yeah, they're having the first birthday for Archie. Archie's having his first steps, they're baking a cake for Archie, Doria? Doris?
Mhm.
Doria
Doria, the mom.
Doria's there, and they're like living their life, but then yes, they find out where they are. It took 6 weeks, which is the exact same amount of time it took in Canada, I guess. So like, it happens. And then all the other stars, honey, were like, wow, we've never seen such paparazzi. Like, not for us. Like, I wonder who the stars are. It's like, yeah, it's because you're Jenny McCarthy. Jenny. I mean, no offense. Like, no, I don't know if drones are coming for Jenny McCarthy,
Yeah.
Um,
We finally see Megan's natural hair, and I like died. I died. Like she's up texting her lawyer at 3 a.m. to see if they've won the fight about her redacted letter. And they find out that they won, but we see her with natural hair. And it's probably not as curly as it once was when she was a bebe, but it gave it that wave, and that's all I needed to see. I just need her with a little tan and a little wave in her hair, and I'm very happy.
mhm.
So then I see, girl, I didn't read past this. Meghan authorized interview and given up all rights. Meghan had a miscarriage. Harry thinks it was due to
I can
stress.
tell you.
What is happening?
Let me tell you. Okay, so this is basically what's happening. So in this fight with the Daily Mail, she's like, you can't just like, publish my own letter. Well, they're like, oh yeah, we can, and this is why. We can because you might expect it to happen. We can actually publish it because remember how Silver Lightfoot, or whatever the hell her like crazy ass friend's name,
Silver Tree.
whatever her
Silver
name is.
Lightfoot sounds like a hobbit.
Both
Great.
of them, okay, but she's real pretty. Like I actually like Silver Lightfoot, I like the way she looks. I'm not, her name is Bananas, and she knows that. So she had like an article come out because her best friend at the time just happened to work at People, right? And so they had come out with an article where they're like, the British media has Meghan all wrong. This is who she is. She's great. She's great. We love her. We love her. We love her. And during that time, they had mentioned the fact that she has a weird relationship with her dad, and then she's trying to like work things out or whatever, and like they are in communication, and the Daily Mail tried to make it be like, well honey, you authorized that People magazine article and they talked about the fucking letter, so we can print it in its entirety or redacted any way we seem fit, we're blah 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 blah. And then what happens is that this weird, okay, because like the British royal court system is like way fucking different. They wear white wigs. Like they're bananas. Okay, they're crazy. Okay, God bless. Just so you know. So the barristers, by the way, they're like barristers. It's like some weird barrister. So I'm like, I don't even understand it. Like decides to also make a declaration to the court where he didn't have to, but he's like, and also just so you know, when I was texting with her, when we saw these texts between her and the royal age, she actually said that she has to assume at some point this could possibly be leaked, so she like kind of knew it was going to happen anyway. So like, and then Meghan and Meghan's lawyer is like, why the fuck did that guy out of the fucking blue decide to do that? And they're like, wait one second. We know this motherfucker. The trades are saying that he's an ex-aide of Harry and Meghan, but the reason why he's ex of Harry and Meghan is because right now he works for William. He works for the brother currently. And so so he must have gotten a higher approval to just suddenly put his like bullshit information into the court that it wasn't necessary, right? Okay, so that's a moment of contention.
And then also Megan's like, she's like, I'm not gonna say anything because it's your brother, but that's somebody on your brother's payroll who did that. So you know what that means. And I'm gonna walk away. I'm not gonna say anything else. So sit on that.
And he's like, no, I get it. So unfortunately, during this time, she had found out she was pregnant, and she describes waking up on a Saturday and like playing with Archie and then realizing that she was miscarrying. She 4 months later writes an opinion piece or not an opinion piece, like an essay, I guess, for I think the New York Times about it.
LA
Share
Times.
it.
Mhm.
LA Times. LA Times? Mommy, are
Mhm.
you sure? Okay. I
Mm.
thought I said New York on there. Okay. So, anyway, so God bless, she does. And now I will say that alone is very different from British royal thing. You'll never see Kate like write a whole like personal essay in such a way. Now, I'm not saying it's bad or good, but I'm just truly saying a particular and palpable difference between American culture and British culture.
And it's
Um,
weird because it's weird that that's such an interesting difference, right? Because while the tabloids will go after anybody, including the royals, and put all their business and fake business and whatever kind of business on Front Street, right? But it's uncouth for a woman to talk about a miscarriage. So it's like, in one way, their media is like in everybody's faces and does whatever. But I guess it's like, oh well, I didn't put that. It's the media that did it. So then she writes that piece. It's like a whole thing, and everybody's like, "Oh my God, we stand with you, Meghan!" Like everybody loves it in America. And in February of 2021, they announced that they're pregnant again with the daughter Lisbeth,
Lilybit,
Lilybit,
which is
and
it's the grandmother's nickname.
mhm. And so Oprah then reaches out to them, and the reaction from the palace was that Meghan was a bully. Like that becomes like their like little thing or whatever. So then they do in March of 2021, they do the Oprah interview. And that's when I walk into the chat because I actually watched that interview and was like quite shocked about everything that was said and everything from like whether or not Archie was going to be dark or what he was going to look like. And just about her being a bully to everybody and like whatever. So Meghan was surprised that race was a big issue from the when the documentary or when the interview with Oprah came out. And it's always weird that she's surprised that race is a big issue, but it's because I guess race isn't thrown at her in that way because she looks like a white person. So
She had said that she was suicidal during this interview, so she had thought that maybe like some of the sound bites that would happen the next day was about how it was revealed that she was suicidal. And she had thought about ending it because it was really dark for her. But no, the next days they were all talking about, whether it was Prince William or Prince or King Charles or whatever, now King Charles, who was the one that wondered aloud what color the baby's skin was. And then later on, someone had to come out. I think Prince Harry had to come out and make sure that people knew that it wasn't his grandmother. I remember that moment happening.
yeah. Yeah. Oprah asked or like whatever. And so he was like, yeah, no, it wasn't her. And so
Yeah.
could you imagine how I wonder what if the child will have darkened skin? And I'm like, does Meghan have darkened skin? Why do y'all think that this recessive gene is just gonna pop up in this child? Like, what
I mean,
are
yes,
we talking about?
to them, yes. If you give me the arm of of a still alive Elizabeth and the arm of Meghan Markle, there's diff. There's diff. You know what's interesting? This will kind of make me feel like we are going to talk about the Miss Cleo documentary, which also is very interesting when it comes to how black and white people see race and culture, which I can't wait to talk about with you.
Oh my gosh.
Because in that documentary, it's kind of like, well, Miss Cleo like wasn't fooling a lot of black people. Miss Cleo fooled all the white people. So it's interesting. It's kind of like I felt like it's kind of like that. Like
In the same way that you and I will always argue about skin tone because you will look at me and be like, that person is clearly dark. And I'm like, white people are fucking weird because you guys look like, not you guys, but like white people
I
are
never
weird
say
in the
clearly dark. I say darker skin tone or she's darker. I don't know if I've ever said that person's clearly dark. Wah.
I mean, but
And
like
not
that's what it
dark.
feels like. I'm just like,
That's
this woman, I
maybe.
would look at her and maybe think she was Jewish. Like, I don't look at Meghan Markle and all and go, that's a black lady. I don't know. I just don't see it. So the fact that anybody's even thinking about what Archie's going to look like is wild. Like the royals are like white upon white. They're negative white. So their negative white is going to take whatever amount of tan that child might have and just put it all the way down to zero. Like,
I mean,
is Archie ever going to be on TikTok in like one of these, like in the future, fighting for his blackness, talking about my grandmother's black? Anyways, so Beyonce texts them while they're like doing both sitting side by side working on their. I love that to see two couples sitting together with the laptops open working. It was like the sexiest thing ever. Beyonce texts afterwards and tells her that they loved it and they're wishing you the best and how brave she is. And then Tyler texts and says the same thing, but then William texts and Harry can't say what William said. Harry just shows it to Meghan and then he walks off. So it's like whatever it is that William texts isn't loving and isn't what it needed to be. So then we have a scene where they're planning their Easter, and it is quite cute. As much as I hate their love, 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 to have them both like talking about, no, we should put this here and then do this way so that they can go through, like to meticulously be planning the Easter egg hunt is lovely. I remember planning an Easter egg hunt when I got to a certain age for the little kids, and Easter egg hunting was always so much fun when I was a kid. So I just really loved that. As much as I don't celebrate, the he has arisen, which is very much in the Black church about Easter. I like the pagan version of it. I love the Easter bunny. I love the fertility part of it. And I love just going to look for either nasty ass hard-boiled eggs or eggs with candy in them. And I love also to decorate the eggs. I think that's really fun too. So I would do that with if my nephew cared, I would do it with him. And so then all of a sudden, Prince Philip dies, and that's his grandfather, who he's very close with. And so, yeah, she books him a flight on American Airlines to go home, which again, I'm like, what kind of American Airlines flight was this? And he has to be there with his family and have it be soups awkward, like just like the most awkward family reunion. They're walking down the street behind the carriage. The brothers aren't like speaking to each other, and they did have a conversation in which Harry says that they refuse to acknowledge their part in it, and they refuse to acknowledge and apologize for anything that happened. I mean, the idea, I think, is their mind is that everybody's fair game, and it doesn't matter if she was a negress or not. The fact that she's Black, she should have known they were going to come at her even harder.
Yeah. So this is the part also where he's like, I know that everyone's watching. I know everyone's watching. Everyone knows. It's like you're literally watching a soap opera, like as it's happening, and this is my family. And he at one point is like, I know they are not going to apologize, and I just have to like let it go. It also shows Meghan and Harry doing like meditation together, and I think trying to come to grips with what has happened to them and where they are now. And like it'd be interesting to also talk to like their therapist and stuff like that. Like I was interested in like who their guided meditation person is. At one point Megan starts to do yoga and I'm like, well, who's your yoga person? Like also what a fucking fabulous life you all have. Yeah, like I did love them being on two separate computers on the same Zoom call, like yeah, like they I can't I was like, do I feel sorry for them? No. I wouldn't say I feel sorry for them.
I think that I can feel bad for what they're going through or feel like empathy, sympathy. I can never tell the difference between the two, but I think I can feel at least sympathy for what's happening to them because like I said, it's like you're used to a certain way of being and not saying what's her face, Meghan, but like she's used to living like a fun little life, being a little actress in Canada and being able to run off to the shops and then still having fancy ass friends to like fly you down for dinner for Bergdorf's. And she's used to having a certain amount of luxury in her life. And that luxury includes privacy. And now all of a sudden she doesn't have it. And it's very stressful. So like in the way that I feel for any rich person who's like, like I have to, as the HR person in me, I have to go, this is their experience, regardless of how I feel like, girl, it could be worse, So I'm trying to give grace to them because, like I said, like you're just taking away things from them that for them are baseline, and my bar is lower because I can do without. So I don't know.
So basically, Diana is born, honey. She is born, and they end up giving a call to Tyler Perry, and they're like, "Hey, boo." Thanks so much for like the whole thing where you like gave us, like a car. I'm sorry, gave us like your plane and then like a whole house. And like, we're going to give you Lilybit Diana. And he's like, oh, good, good, good. One quick thing, just like, I absolutely won't go to christen her in like the House of England, Church of England, England time. So not gonna not gonna be there for that one. Sorry about it. But like I think that's a good trade. you know?
Wait, you felt some kind of way though about him not wanting to go to that,
Yeah, I
right?
think that it's like, oh well, then why don't you? Yeah, then why? Then I mean, do you? What is your idea of being a godfather then?
Well, I think that there is a separation between godparents and baptism. Like you don't have to like you could be somebody's godparent and not have that child be baptized as that. Like the, for some people, the church's involvement in that is unnecessary. So while Lilibet is his godchild, and he will provide for her should the parents die, and he will provide extra gifts and love or whatever to her, like it doesn't make it any less true because he didn't go to the baptism.
Yeah, but like I mean, I don't know what the Church of England says about baptism, but like technically, his father is the head of a whole fucking church. So it's like that's if you're the Pope of the Church of England is the king.
Oh,
So just I think that there's I don't know. I mean, I'm just like why do it? Why not just like throw him a great party or I don't know, just make a movie with him or do something. I don't know. Why does it have to be your child if it's not he doesn't want to do what the thing is. Anyway, that's why I guess I thought that. But I still think Tyler Perry did them a great solid. So I mean, um some good news happens for Meghan. She in the middle of the night gets to call her lawyer to find out that she in fact won the appeal of the Daily Mail, which is what it actually and it was because they had won like a preliminary kind of case and this was the appeal. So they had finally fucking won the appeal. It was done. She can like put a cap. Now at this time, basically she's suing them to apologize, to redact it. And they do in like the dumbest, smallest font way of basically announcing like that she had won the court case against them.
yeah. It was really dumb. She
Yeah.
also reconnects with her niece, who is like, "Oh my god, thank God!" And I'm like, "God, wow, that's crazy." Harry has irrevocably changed, and he is now an American citizen. I mean, I don't know if he is now, but like in his mind, he's like, "Yeah, this is the place where rebels go, isn't it?" So he like rebelled from his family and left and came to America, and he's like living his life like it's golden. Um, he said it was the obvious step, and he genuinely feels like they're where they're supposed to be. So then she goes back and she reads her wedding speech, and she says like, "Yeah," and apparently me giving a wedding speech was like very unheard of as well. And she goes back and she reads this wedding speech and like talks and like basically it foreshadows some of the things that they have actually experienced. And I wrote in very big font, "Good for them. Hashtag love wins."
It's also somewhat interesting, a little other tea in Spare, which of course is Prince Harry's autobiography. He says that the whole world thought that he was William's best man, but in fact he wasn't. Like he was there at the ceremony, but during the reception, like the best man speech was given by like two of William's friends. God, I could have heard all the speeches. I wish I could just like, wouldn't that have been great? God, I love weddings. Anyway, yeah, so they are in love, very much in love. The last scene for me of this documentary is this. They're living in Montecito. It's a gorgeous French like country house. He comes out of the door and there is a black Audi just there in the driveway. It's very positioned in the shot. The front of the grill and that's like the four interlocked, kind of like Olympic circles, but it's like the Audi symbol in the on the front of the car. Harry, I still don't know the difference, just kidding. Harry walks into the car and music plays. He gets into the car and he starts like driving. And I was like, holy fuck. Audi gave him what millions for that shot? Like I just watched, I mean, one of the princes of England in a commercial. And then I thought, I guess I also just sort of watched him in a whole like commercial of his life a little bit. But I ended up doing a little research. I can't see if Audi gave him money, but he supposedly is an Audi enthusiast. So Audi is a German brand. It's interesting, yeah, because like, English monarchy people like have to like dress in English designers and like most of the time they're gonna be yeah, that's like a thing. Like Jenny Packham. You'll see a lot of Kate Middleton and Jenny Packham for that reason. Anyway, so but Rolls Royces, Bentleys are like the typical English luxury car. So, you know, yeah, just he just drives off in that Audi, just a man in his German-made sports electric car, just like handling the roads of Santa Barbara.
All right, you guys. So we want to thank you guys so much for joining us in the saga that is Love Wins at aka H&M, not the clothing store, but Harry and Meghan. And sometimes I spell their names ECH and EM because they refer to each other as H and M. It's so weird that they like, yeah, H said. I'm like, so weird. Why don't you just call the man Harry or Harold? Just kidding. So thank you guys so much. If you guys want to see the visuals of what you're listening to, you can join us on patreon.com/docusweeties. And that is $10 a month. We do a live monthly on the first Monday of the month. And it's, usually just a little insight into our lives and what's happening. Don't forget to give this 5 stars if you love the content we are providing. If you like to support us, you can do Patreon as well, $10 a month. Just like I said, where can you find us elsewhere, Chris?
On our social medias, we are DocuSweeties on Instagram, DocuSweeties on TikTok, and DocuSweeties1 on Twitter. We love you guys so much. Thank you so much for listening. We hope you enjoyed this. If you want to, give us 5 stars. Listen, we're not going to stop you. You think we're going to stop you? We ain't going to stop you. You can do it, honey. Okay. Thank you so much. We'll talk to you later. Bye.
Bye.